And it's a great time to show young people that if you take care of yourself,
yes,
that you can have the same type of energy. So yes, and coaching, I still do side coaching because a lot of time parents come to me and they want me to do individual works with their kids. I'll do that, but I also coach for life, so that's very important.
Before we go on a break, you have a new book, One Breath. Tell us about it and what inspired this book. Yes, I mean, you have it with you?
Yes,
oh, awesome. Let's see it.
Yeah, this is my new book, and it's entitled One Breath. And it's a 12-step game plan.
Why 12 steps?
Well, it's a 12 steps because anyone heard about the 12 steps
yes,
that it takes to stop using alcohol, that it takes to stop using drugs. People are addicted to certain things. Well, my goal is to help transform what I call America's hoods. Now, America has hoods that exist all through our country. To me, it's broken and it needs to be fixed. I'm a perfect example of that. I have a family that was literally destroyed by the nature of the hood. Now, everybody will look at you, well, you came out and you did pretty good. Yeah, that's me. But statistically showing, it's not that good if 3 or 4 of your members of your family did not do well, and you're the only one that came out and did well. So this thing stayed with me. My biggest thing was, how do I affect change in this community? How do I help fix this particular community, the hood? How do I bring the neighbor back into the neighborhood? Put the sister back into the sisterhood, the man back into the manhood, the boy back into the boyhood. When you look up the word the hood, not the hood. That's how we say. The dictionary tells you is a crime-infested community. It is a community of hoodlums. So why would you want to even associate to that name? Words have creative powers and they create our world. So the hood is just not good. And I'm talking about the mental capacity of the hood, the emotional capacity of the hood. And this is the thing that I challenge here. And one of the things I talk about is that the hood is addicted to behaviors, particularly negative thoughts, resentment, bitterness.
Feeds off of it.
Feeds off it. Hatred. All of those are negative thoughts that we are addicted to. We need a 12-step game plan. I use sports and music as the catalyst to meet our young people, especially our young boys, where they're at. I call the boys in the hood.
Yes.
Because the boys in the hood, that's where we're having our most challenges. I know everyone say, well, what do you do about the young ladies? I do a lot. By supporting and helping the young boys, I'm helping the parents, the mothers, which a lot of times are single, and I'm helping the young ladies. And my goal here is to breathe life, take that one breath and breathe life into our young boys, much like I have done. I say this to you because I've done it for 42 years. It's worked. I use sports to do this. I use music to do this. and it works. So I had to write a book. And a lot of times people like to complain, they like to talk about things. I say, don't talk about it, be about it.
Be about it.
It's the being part, the human being. Do, get out and do. And this book describes those things for us. What 12 steps that we can take. And I spell out the 12 steps. I show you exactly what you can do with these 12 steps to improve your life. I even use them for coaches to take them and infuse them and incorporate them into their athletic program, incorporate them to your music program so that you can change the words of the music, the concepts of the music using the 12 steps.
What have you discovered about yourself after you wrote this book?
Wow. I am still discovering it because what I found out was that I look back on all the breaths, the one breath that was breathed into my life over the years. I'm like, wow, that's what that person was doing. That's what that person was doing. That was that. So each one of these people that came into my life was breathing life into me. And I realized that.
I like that take.
Yes.
I love that. Each of them was breathing a breath in. Wow.
Breath of life into.
This is a good moment to take a breath, take a break. Let's take a break.
Thank you.
We are back with Coach Gustus. Coach, I want to go to the chat room and read these questions that were posted. So, where did I leave off? Janet, did you ever coach girls basketball?
I did one time, and it was quite an experience. Actually took over at Canarsie because they were about to lose the program because they couldn't get a coach, and I decided just to coach for that 1 year.
Mm-hmm. Ronald, what was one of your proudest moments? What is your proudest moment for one of your student athletes?
When I stood on the floor at the Dallas Mavericks Arena,
Yes.
And I watched with my family Orlando Blackman number be hosted up, number 22, to the rafters of that arena. It was an incredible moment because here I was standing there, and I was his schoolyard grassroots coach, and I'm here with all these millionaires and everything. And when he spoke, and he continues to speak, he tells them that the one person that was the most influential to him was myself. Out of all the coaches that he had over the years, and that was an incredible moment, man. I mean, I see the picture right there, and that was one of my proudest moments because this is a young guy that came from Panama, didn't even play basketball. I had to invite him from around the fence to come and play. He was afraid to even ask to play because he didn't play basketball. They didn't speak the language well, and I did that, and he became one of my top players.
We should talk to this guy.
Yeah, oh yeah, you definitely got to get a chance to talk to him. When he's in town, I will make sure that happens.
Awesome.
I would definitely love to have him on your show.
Oh my gosh! Wow, wow. Brandon, how has having a background in behavioral science affected your communication with aspiring athletes?
Well, think about it. Behavior science, psychology, sociology, anthropology, environmental, all of those things. I studied behavior sciences. Not only did it help me to coach kids, but it also helped me. Mm-hmm. I did a thesis under the direction of Dr. Robert Fox, who was my basketball coach. but he was also a professor at the school, and the thesis was how sports affect African American males, or young men. And so I'm always behaviors. I always could watch a kid. I could tell when they're having difficulties. It allows me to communicate to the inner self. I always tell them, I don't look at you, I look in you. See, because it's not what happens to you that counts the most, it's what happens in you that counts. And I always tell my players, what's inside you? This is where I start out. And a lot is going to happen to you from the outside, but what is happening inside you? That young man I told you about, everyone was looking at what was happening to him. I was more concerned about what was happening inside.
Ronald, what is your plan or vision for young men in urban community?
You're talking about America's hood?
Yeah.
And Ronald, I want to make sure that we say urban community, we say inner city, we say...
You want to make sure what he means
yes.
by urban community.
And I want to begin to create that narrative for us. I call it America's hood. And the reason why I call it America's hood, because America, the greatest country in the world, in my estimation, if you have a product that is not working in this country, what do? They recall the product.
Right.
And they say, this car is not working, the airbag is defected, this part, the wheels are defected, whatever is defected in that car, you call it back, because America wants to put out the very best car so the world can see it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Well, we created, and we are co-creators of America's hood. That's why I call it America's hood. It's our ownership. This is your hood. This is our hood that we created. You can't separate that.
Let's fix it.
This is a car that we want people to see. We need to fix it. So my whole goal is, let's not run from it, and let's talk about it, and let's talk about how we can fix it. Just like we would do any other product that America has created. The hood is something that is 100% USA made.
You have written another book called Confessions of a Mad Black Coach. MAD is the acronym for Making a Difference. Why did you write it?
I had just finished my coaching career. And there were some confessions that I had to make. And one of them was, the confession was that I never intended to coach basketball to win basketball games. The confession was that I wanted to win lives. And in the book, it talks about the reasons why I did things over my coaching career. There was time where I could have won a championship, but I had to make a choice of winning a life with a young man. Maybe he needed some extra discipline. To give you an example, I had a young man that I tell a story about. He was having difficulties with his chores at home and giving his mother a hard way to go. And she called me up and she said, look, he's just not cooperating. I said, okay. We had one big game, Nazareth High School against Bishop Lockton. This kid averaged about 20 points a game for me. And I refused to play him in this big game. And everyone was like, you know, this is the biggest game of the year and you not going to play him? I let him dress in the uniform and I did not play him. But one thing for certain that we didn't have to ever worry about him doing his home chores. That's a confession because we lost that game by 3 points in overtime. Had we had his 20 points, we'd have won the game. Everyone knew that. But it sent a message. And the message is that if you want to play this game of basketball, then you have to make sure you understand the rules of engagement. You have to know that there are certain things that are expected from you. And if you're not doing and you're not cooperating with your parents at home, then I will sit you down and I will not let you play. To me, that's important. Today, that young man, 38 years old, almost 40 years old, he and I are great friends. He calls me up. He tells me about his family. He tells me about everything. In fact, the same young man was a young man that they took a picture of and interviewed in the New York Times when I did the piece on special education. So his life changed because the confession is that a lot of things that you guys see me do is because I wasn't trying to win basketball. Now I won championship games, but my goal wasn't to win championship games. My goal was to win lives over, to change young people's lives and use sports as a vehicle. I always say, let's use sports, but we're not going to let sports use you.
Jeff asks, why did you retire from coaching basketball?
Jeff, I was tired.
That's a good
Jeff, let me just tell you, I retired from coaching and teaching. You know why? Because I was passionate. When I coached, I gave it my all. I coached you from the time you woke up in the morning to time you went to the bed. Because coaches are not just on the court. Coaches is off the court. I have to be concerned about your life. I went to places with kids. When kids got in problem with the prison system, I would go to the prison system with them and help them get out of the problem. It was just a life thing. So it was more than just coaching a game of basketball.
Coach, how did you balance all of that with family, life, and leisure? How did you do it?
Well, first of all, my wife,
Yes.
of 35 years, she loved sports.
Oh.
She loved sports. She loved the ideas she brought into. Her father used to be a coach, and he put a lot into the community. So she kind of bought into that. She knew that this is some of the things I do. Now, at times, I needed her so badly because I wanted to raise a family. And she would bring my kids always to the games. They would cheer at the games and so forth. They got to meet all the young fellas that I would coach. They were pretty much as into it as they can. They didn't play, but they knew if a guy was a scrub or not, because they would tell him, no, he can't play, or whatever. So my family, which is first, and also was the opportunity to show a role model that, hey, here's my family. This is my first. This is what I consider first. You put them first. They have a song, Put That Woman First.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Well, if you could go to your favorite place and have your favorite drink with you. Coach, if you had to go somewhere, a favorite place with your favorite drink, book, and music, where would this place be? What would you be drinking? What would you be reading? And what music would you be listening to?
First of all, I will be drinking my favorite drink, which is water.
Agua.
Aqua. I love water. I would drink that. Because that's the purity. That's the water that flushes out everything and so forth. Favorite place that I would go? Really, I would think, and as I think about it, I've been to a few places. I love Canada.
Canada.
Yes, Montreal, Canada. I used to take a group of kids there on a regular basis, and when they were in a hotel and my assistants were there, I always would be able to sneak away and just be by myself. And those mountains and the things that they had there and so forth. I love the mountain area just to cool out. But I love people. So I'm not one to really separate myself too much from people. I really I get my energy. Where you saw me at?
Yes.
When we met each other, that's the kind of energy that I love, that flow, and it just gives me energy, That's where I get most of my energy. A lot of times people like to go and go away, and I do, but I can't do it for so long. I need to get back to the energy. I'm a New Yorker. I love New York. I love the energy. I get a chance to talk to people, communicate to people on the street. Those are things that I would do.
So what music will you be listening to?
Music, oh man, I'll probably be listening to my son's music, Vaughn Middleton.
Really?
Yeah, right now. He has a song that he's written from this book, for this book. It's called Free From You.
Free From You?
Yes. And when I heard this song and he told me when he wrote it, I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And free from you meaning free from you, yourself.
Yes, yes.
Incredible. And when I heard it, and the music, the way he arranged the music with piano and violins, and it's just smooth, you know, it's nice, and it gives a message over. I can listen to that all the time. But of course, if I'm not listening to him, I love Curtis Mayfield, old school stuff. You know, I love those guys. Curtis Mayfield, Impression, Isaac Hayes. Oh, love that. Barry White, Teddy. Yeah, very smooth, romantic type music and so forth.
Let me shift to the chat room again.
Christina said, I love the concept of using the AA 12 steps with your book to help people. I can't wait to read it. Didi said, yeah, that's right, addicted. Anthony, what was your biggest breakthrough with someone you have coached in life and basketball?
I've been successful with this. So the biggest breakthrough, wow. There's a young man now, to me, he was a troubled young man in middle school. And I began to teach him, coach him, and so forth. And he was one of those guys that I'm not going to change. And I don't need to change, but he has some challenges. And I think today, when I see him, he's like 32 years old now. And he's married, you know. He has a big program that he works with young people in California. And he's doing a great job with that there, you know. So that's one story, but be honest with you, God has blessed me with this, and it's so many different stories. Each one are unique in their own way, and it's just a lot of stories. Trust me.
Michael P., what do you see the impact of your One Breath book and idea will have on today's current events with young men of color in America?
Well, game plan. See, we can go anywhere. Every year I go. For the last 8 years, I've been in Los Angeles. For the last 8 years, I've been in Los Angeles. And in Los Angeles, one of my former ball players by the name of Derek Richardson, he runs a program out there that he started 8 years ago called Male by Birth, Man by Choice. Male by birth, man by choice. And what we do is we get the gangs of LA, Crips and the Bloods, and I get the opportunity to take them away from their developments and bring them into one place, what they call upstate Los Angeles. And I get a chance to mentor them along with a whole bunch of other people and mentor the people that is responsible for bringing them. This book, this 12-step game plan, allows me to give a game plan not only for the young people, for people, but this is for everybody. It's not just for men, boys, it's just for everyone. We have addictive behaviors. Everyone only looks at the self-medication part of addiction, which we're talking about drugs but what about other addictive behavior? We have people that are addicted to resentment. Could you imagine you're addicted to resentment? You're addicted to negative thoughts. This is what I touched on in this book. There are negative thoughts that we are addicted to. That's why when you hear sometimes young people, they talk about hating. Oh, he's just hating. Well, why does he hate? Because he's addicted to it. There's compulsive behaviors that we are addicted to. And it's not always a drug thing. There's sexual addiction, there's addiction to bitterness, there's addiction to all sorts of just unforgiveness. That you just don't want to do that. You can't do that. You want vengeance. You got to get it that way. So this book discussed that, and it is a big chapter on this in the book.
Let's see the cover that
yeah.
Again for those who are now joining.
Excuse me.
One breath.
It's called One Breath. And
Close to your face.
yes.
Yeah.
There you go. And we deal with directly, but we infuse it into sports and music. We don't wait until a child grows up and then all of a sudden he decides all of these things are bothering him. See, what we deal with in this here, we deal with generation challenges, because there are generational challenges that we deal with. We deal with his story, her story, their story, and how people use those things so that you can't live your story. So this book does that for it, and I spell it out with a 12-step game plan and how you can take it and incorporate it into your life and incorporate it into the education system and sports.
If a year from now we were sitting like this with each other, celebrating your life as a father, a mentor, a life coach, an author, what would we be celebrating for you?
Well, hopefully we will be celebrating that this year, this time, I put out a book. And that book has impacted the lives of millions.
What is gratifying about being Ted Gustus?
They have an old saying at this gym called IS8. It's a gym when we go play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, don't bring your name, bring your game. So I respect that, because it's saying that, you coming with a name.
Right.
And the name is cool, but the game is very important to me, because the game is the doing aspect. The game is the participation, getting involved. That's what. And you can win the championship last year, but that was last year. What are you doing now?
Now, when are you most happy, Ted?
When I'm around people, when I am seeing people achieve and accomplish the things that they want to accomplish. Being a coach.
Being a coach.
You think about it, a coach, unlike a psychiatrist, a lot of times people don't want to go see a psychiatrist or any counselor, especially in the hood in our community. So they will listen to a coach. And a coach is like a coach bus, coach train, a coach plane. And the purpose is to get you to where you want to get.
Yes.
See, you don't get on a coach bus not knowing where you want to go. You need to know where you want to go. And once you tell me as a coach where you want to go, then my job is to help you get to the destination. Now, depending on the price that you're willing to pay,
yes,
will determine how you're going to get there and how fast you're going to get there, right?
After 42 years of coaching, what are 3 things you've learned about yourself?
42 years of coaching.
Yes.
that one, sustainability, that I would have the ability to last for the 42 years, and adaptability. I had the ability to adapt in those 42 years because each era is different, and you just have to adapt to what's going on.
And after those years, what would you say you got right? Just one thing, and you got wrong.
I would say that I didn't get anything right, and I didn't get anything wrong.
I like that.
And by the way, just so you know, that the idea behind that is because a lot of times we into the right and wrong thing, you know, and we use that to really put people. I just did. I was being.
Yes.
The essence of being, not worrying about right or wrong, but doing, you know. And people going to judge is right or wrong, and then that's when you bring in the guilt and all the other things that goes along with it. Well, you didn't do this right. Well, I'm that young man that I did not allow him to play in the game because he didn't do what his mom's asked him. Was that a right moment? Was that a wrong moment?
We don't know.
We don't know. But it was a moment.
Favorite movies?
Favorite movies. One of my favorite movies was Claudia. You remember Claudia?
I can't remember the deep.
Claudia was a movie with Diane Carroll from way back.
Oh God, it's an old one.
Yeah. Oh, and the reason why is because it reminded me of my family. This is a struggling mother, and family was on welfare, and all the things that it really. And then moving up, I love The Matrix.
I love that too.
Because The Matrix take you into a whole nother space.
Coach.